Hello, class. Dr. Matt Hallam. I apologize for my voice. I've been sick and I'm barely able to talk here, but I wanted to go through and give you an overview of what your classes would be entailing this week. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and hopefully you can see that now. So out here in culture and ethics of international business. I always go to the modules. It's just a nice way to find everything in an overview. You can see down here under session two, it has the different assignments. So you have four for this week: discussion worth 25, corporate summary, 100 points, annotated bibliography for final paper, 100 points, and then your homework, which is the questions, which will be 40 points. So the discussion this week, you guys are probably very familiar with this if you've been in any of the classes that are here. Thursday, make sure you have your initial responses in, and then by Sunday, have in the two responses to classmates. I do ask that you try to ground it. There's a lot of theory that goes out there. So if you just give me theory, that's fine. But I'd love to hear some of your real life experiences. Where have you seen this actually play out in real life? The questions for this week have to do with ethics. All ethics come from somewhere. It's not usually that people just come up with ethics on their own, even though they say it, but they're pulling them from somewhere. For much of Western culture, it's come from a Judeo-Christian ethic background. And that's kind of a little bit what the discussion is. Do you think that's true? Do you think that's not true? And I look forward to the responses and debates and whatever else is there. But let's look into our next assignment. So for the next one is the corporate summary guidance of FCPA. So if you're familiar with it, there's a link out there where you can view this freely online. It's justice.gov, and it's the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. So what this does is it just covers law. So we're talking about ethics. Sometimes ethics become codified, so sometimes they're just what we feel like we should do and do the right thing, but then other times it's that a lot of people agree on this and they codify into law. So this is one of the laws that governs us, especially as we're working in international business. So down here's the rubric for it. You're going to respond to that, review it, and respond to this with a 3-page summary about compliance and fictionally giving it to a board of directors of someone that's contemplating expanding into another international area. So go ahead and do that piece of it. That's going to be worth 100 points. So you want to make sure that you give yourself plenty of time to work on that. Let's go back to our next assignment for this week. This is the annotated bibliography for your final paper. So we're kind of piecing it together as we go. That way it's not the last week and all of a sudden you have a paper. And this is, whenever I was a student, I was like, I always hated it when they had me do the bibliographies, but I have found it's very helpful to do. So what you're looking for are to find 5 good resources that aren't your textbooks that you're going to use to write your paper off of. And you're going to put down the information. It's fairly easy. You're welcome to use AI for this to help look for resources and also to do it. I do ask that you eyeball it and actually look at what it is to make sure that it's available. And then you'll want to write a paragraph about why that resource will be important to your paper. So that should be you. That should be you after examining the resource to say this is why it's going to be important for my research project. The last assignment is just the homework. So this will be based off of the readings for the week. And there's some questions that you'll take there that you can write, and then that will be the final piece for this week. But if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. You're doing fantastic. Every single one of you have been engaged so far and are doing a great job in the class. If there's anything I can help with, don't hesitate to reach out because that's what I'm here for, is to help you succeed.